Marshall skips away, Marshall skips away, Marshall's still going, Marshall's got Richards coming up outside, now inside.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing.
Bennett and the Dragons win the grand final.
Whips that one away, and Kane Williamson and his team now World Test champions.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TGIF podcast. Thank God it's footy. Back again with the bro for another week. It's been a bit of a special week for all the footy fans out there. Coming to the business end of the Rugby League World Cup, and the FIFA World Cup seems to be edging ever closer and closer. But before we rip into that, Nat, how was your week?
Oh, g'day everyone. Good to be back as always. Now, been a bit of a quiet week. Obviously, you've been living la vida loca, Ricky Martining it up there with a bit of the vid. The weather's been pumping. The sun has been out in full force as we sit here recording now. It is a little bit dreary here in Tamaki Makaurau, but it has been lovely throughout the week. As we inch our way towards the festive season. Now, as you said, it's been a bit of a special week in terms for all the footy fans, in terms of quite a lot of different sports. And you know, we come to the end of some forms of national glory in terms of the rugby league and the cricket. And as I like to say, the round ball, we're starting to look forward to a little bit of that. The FIFA World Cup coming up this week, and it's going to be bloody good, isn't it?
Oh yeah, like you mentioned, not the flashiest of weeks for me overall. Testing positive for the old vid on Wednesday there, so yeah, I've been doing fuck all these past few days, but it's been nice to be able to watch plenty of sport while I've been at home and rip into those footy semis, bit of the Gooners, you know, some World Cup finals. It's been alright. It's been a good week sport viewing wise, but yeah, just come out of the COVID today and the weather's foul, but you know, we look forward to getting back, integrating back into society, I suppose.
Exactly. It's good to have you back. It's good to have you back on your feet, and obviously a slightly delayed potty this week for you all, obviously due to old mate Ricky Martining it up. So we're back though. We've got a little bit to talk about, but I guess the first thing we've got to say is a huge congratulations to the mighty Black Ferns for what was an amazing win over the weekend.
Absolutely. Huge shout out to the Black Ferns there, claiming the Rugby World Cup. Probably the most thrilling game of rugby I have seen, particularly in a long time. Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Phenomenal.
I'd much rather watch them, to be fair, than the All Blacks at the moment, or any of the other men's teams. There's been a few shock results, I guess you could say, and a few close games in terms of the men's rugby. But this game was unreal. Couple of big shout-outs. I think one, first of all, credit to the hooker from England. I can't remember what her name was. I think
Amy Cocaine.
Cocaine, yeah, she was unreal. Scored 2 real good tries off three tries. 2 off the back of line-up moves, or was the third one off the back of?
I think she scored 3 off the back of mauls there. Yeah,
it was. I might have missed one of them there. I'm not too sure what I would have been doing there, but yeah, 2 that were just really, really good tries. But I guess a huge shout out to the lady in the centre jersey there for the Black Ferns, Stacey Fluher. She had a unreal game.
Oh yeah, she was insane. Huge shout out to her. She was incredible. Very skillful and evasive. You could tell that a lot of our outside backs there came from the Sevens background, the way they moved and beat defenders. But yeah, a bit of a clash of two styles there. England going for those line-out drives, and the Black Ferns sort of letting the ball sing a bit more. But I guess that's the case when you have an early red card like that.
Yeah, exactly. I text you because, and I said to Jay, I said, "Oh, that's that's only off for what was it? I thought it was 20 minutes or something
but
like
then
that.
you had to like sub the reserve on.
Yeah, and I
they
thought
were
that
just trialing.
thought they were still doing that, and I said to Joe, "Well, she'll be back on." And then I don't know what stage of the game it was. I'm sitting there going, "Hold on, this red card still popped up there," and I was caught unawares. But yeah, when you have a red card that early on, they still played pretty bloody well with a player down. So definitely kept it interesting.
They could have stolen it there right at the end. They had a line out with about 20 seconds to go, but our girls managed to steal the ball, hold on, retain the title in front of a sold-out Eden Park. Was pretty bloody good. Unreal game really, start to finish. Drama, tries, and yeah, either side could have won it with seconds to go on the clock. So well done the girls. It's good to see after, like you said, some maybe not so convincing results for some of the other men's teams, but yeah, it's probably about it for the Black Ferns. Well done ladies, awesome to see. Hopefully they can go and kick on from this and turn the ladies game into a bit more of a thing, I suppose. Get some more publicity behind it and
exactly.
get the girls playing.
I've always
full
said it's
time.
the supply over the demand, and you've got to look there when you're looking at paying the All Blacks what they get paid to go out there and give them the performances they've been doing at the moment. And I think it's pretty clear to see that the amount of people that tuned in to watch firstly the semi-final and then the final, the want is there. So I know there's been a lot of talk about the Black Ferns wanting a bit of not them wanting a bonus as such, but people wanting a bonus for them and think it's fair. And I think it's about time that they should be getting paid the same amount, I think, as the All Blacks. But I think that's possibly a discussion for another day. Looking at the other oval ball, looking back into the league, we've had a few retirements over the last few weeks. Obviously, as we've coming into the end of the league season, and a few big names that are calling their time on the game.
Yeah, a bit of an end of an era of sorts. A few of the modern day legends, I suppose you could class them, ending their time in the game. Andrew McCulloch, great hooker for the Broncos and Queensland. I believe he might not have played for Australia, not too sure on that, but yeah, awesome number 9, came down and finished his career at the Dragons, and yeah, was certainly a handy player for us. And then you've got Josh Jackson and Andrew Fafita, who legends at their clubs respectively, particularly Fafita there. He'll have that moment of the winning try in the 2016 Grand Final for Cronulla's first premiership. So,
exactly.
Good on him.
Three players that have had a pretty awesome NRL career. So it's sad to see them go, but is the way with professional sports. When you reach that age, or your body reaches that point, that you've got to give it up. It's time to go. Looking at retirements, we've had an unusual, an interestingly timed, a peculiar, some may say, retirement in football, with Gerard Piqué pulling the plug middle of the season, and finishing in his last game. I think it was his last game, being sent off from the bench.
Crazy.
I believe.
Yeah. Well done, PK. Crazy career at the top. Bit of a weird one, the way it finished. Maybe he agreed before the start of the season that he'd take it until that World Cup break, and then he'd bugger off. But yeah, strange one, but he's gone. He's had a pretty good career. If you look at it trophies wise, few Champions Leagues, few La Ligas, World Cup, couple of Euros.
Trophy cabinet there for Gerard Piqué, and he's obviously been able to get himself involved in a little bit of Premier League action as well, spending a little bit of his earlier stages of his career with Man United. So it's a big retirement, but like we said, he's had a pretty illustrious career, so he can go away now and put his feet up. It looks like there's a little bit of talk about him. I saw an article, and now I wish I'd written something down when I'd seen the article, because I've forgotten what the role is as such, but a little bit of talk that he could be returning, I want to say, in a director of football role or something along those lines, with Barcelona, obviously, going in there and linking up with one of his old teammates there. So interesting to see what happens there with PK, but he's got a lot of moolah to go there and relax with now, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure him and his wife there, Shakira,
I believe they have split.
Oh, they have split.
I believe. I'm pretty sure. If we have a quick look, I think they've split. And I think it might have been fairly recent. Yeah, Shakira and ex-husband Gerard Piqué agreed to sell their former family mansion in Barcelona.
Well,
so,
there we go. I'm sure he's, like you said, would have earned plenty of money in his own right. Sitting there with a well-decorated trophy cabinet. He'll be pretty happy with his career, and yeah, if he can return to Barcelona and keep him there, I'm sure they'd jump at the opportunity to keep him around.
Oh, well and truly. I think he'd be a pretty handy player to have there, involved in some way, shape or form.
Yeah, he'd definitely be an asset to the club.
So he's sort of been involved in it all, so I think it'd be really handy to have along. I guess sticking with football and news, one player who we all know, Cristiano Ronaldo, CR7, been involved in quite a little bit of news recently.
Yeah, it's probably dominated your news feed. His interview there with Piers Morgan, yeah, seems to be
Throwing
pretty
everyone
beefy.
under the bus.
Yeah, pretty beefy. Doesn't like the way United have treated him. He feels like he's been betrayed by senior execs, Ten Hag, ex-players. Gary Neville and Wayne Rooney seem to have been singled out in that interview. Yeah, a number of things that he sort of unloaded on. So very interesting to see what will unfold of it with the World Cup coming up. But yeah.
Oh, he's had a spat with Fernandes. Bit of a weird little handshake incident there. There's been pictures of him.
Dalot and Fernandes.
Yeah, but then
there.
Cancelo, there was a little bit of an incident, I think, with him at training. So it all seems to be on. He's come out, I believe, and said that there's only like 3 players in the United team that he respects, I think. So yeah, it all seems to be on. So it's fairly interesting to see where this goes. I don't know if he'll play again for United.
I certainly doubt.
Can't imagine so. With obviously the World Cup, the Premier League coming back after the World Cup around the Boxing Day area of
Boxing
December.
Day in the UK, yeah.
So you look at that, there's a week there until the transfer window opens. I can imagine he will either have a move sorted or he will be going somewhere pretty soon after that. So possibly the last we've seen of Ronaldo in a United shirt. And obviously there'll be City fans thinking what could have been, because I know that he's come out and said that he was very, very, very close to joining them. So I don't know if the Haaland deals would have still got over the line, but can you imagine if you'd had... obviously Ronaldo would have been there the season before, but Ronaldo and Haaland in the same team would be pretty unreal sight to see.
Definitely. Would have been interesting had if he moved to Man City, because I don't believe they had a player who scored 20 for them last year, whereas Ronaldo did. So yeah, interesting if he would have fired them to the league title last year. Don't see why he wouldn't have, but interesting to see what comes of it. Speaking of interesting though, if we switch back to a bit of rugby league, it's been a big one for the Tigers this week again. Another swap deal.
I don't know if interesting's the adjective that I'd like to be throwing out there. Peculiar, a word I mentioned earlier. I think that could be maybe the way I'm looking at it at the moment. I think it's a hard one to take at the moment. Before he was injured last year. Old mate Jackson Hastings was looking like our best player and looking like the fellow we wanted to try and build the team around. And obviously, it doesn't matter where you stand, I guess, in terms of the Brooksy situation. Everyone's got their own opinions there, but there was lots of talk about him going to the Knights, and I highly doubt that's going to be happening now with Hastings heading there and old mate Dave Clemmer coming over to join us at the Tigs. I saw a fella on the Tigers page earlier today who posted something saying that it's the first forward we've had with the crazy eyes like Keith Galloway since him. So interesting to see how it goes. Yeah, but there you go. I said it. Interesting. I was thinking peculiar, but I've just said it. So I guess it is. It's still a rough one. I'm still a bit unsure how I feel about this one here.
Yeah, look, obviously Tigers had a few too many options in the halves there, and maybe front row was an area that they were looking to improve, and
definitely an improvement. Don't get me wrong. I think he's going to be a great asset to the team. But
yeah,
I think it's the loss that I'm still a bit like. Oh.
It's a tough one because Hastings, like you said, he was one of your best players last year. And yeah, definitely watching from the outside looked like he was certainly one of the ones trying his hardest out there week in, week out. Don't know if I could say the same about the rest of the squad with certainty, but Dave Clemmer, he's someone that will definitely give his best week in, week out. Like you said, crazy-eyed. I'm sure he'll bring a
little bit of oomph.
So, I'm sure he'll bring a bit of, like you said, oomph to the forward pack, and it's starting to look like a very, very handy forward pack there at the Tigs. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's
as long as Brooks and Dewey can play well off the back of it, then maybe Hastings will be all forgotten about.
It's got to be a better season this time around. I think it's got to be. We'll have some improvements. I think we've obviously had some really good players coming in, and hopefully Sean Bloor he can stay injury free. We haven't really get to see him run out in a Tigers jersey, so we can only go up from here, obviously. And I mean, we could come 17th next year, but we're not gonna look at it that way. We're looking up. Just like one of our biggest fans is at the moment now. He's a good friend of ours. He's a character. He's a sight to see. You couldn't miss him, and he's probably goes down as TGIF's biggest fan in the early days. Now, I believe he is probably second in terms of most listens. I'd say you have probably listened to the podcast the most. I'd say Fred is probably there in second, even ahead of me. I'd say I know that there's at least episode 1. I think he's listened to at least 4 times now.
You probably can't include me in there, listening to our own podcast.
Now, maybe we can at the moment while our number of fans is little, but no, he's our biggest
definitely
fan.
Give Fred that title.
He's the biggest fan. He gives us our feedback. He pops out one-liners to me from episodes every now and again, which shows that he's clearly listening. He's taking it in. Now, what are we today? It's Thursday. Was it Tuesday? Was it Monday night? I think it might have been Monday night. I'd been over at the boys' flat there on Moseley. We've been playing a bit of darts, and I'd shot home to get myself a little bit of tea, and my phone started ringing, and it was Fred. And I was thinking, what's he doing calling me? He knows I'm coming back now. And then I had that click. I was like, I bet he's done it. He has fucking done it. And I answered, and I said to him, mate, you've fucking done it, haven't you? And he replied, yes. He'd only gone out there, and he'd got himself his first 180. So I wanted to finish off our little intro to the news section here with a huge congratulations to Freddie, the Flying Kiwi Cabal, on his first 180, involved in an online knacker game against a few Aussie blokes. We won't tell everyone that he was on 175 and busted, but hey, a 180 nonetheless. Congratulations to you, Fred, and thank you for being TGIF's biggest fan, biggest critic, and we look we look forward to getting some feedback from you again.
Shout out, Fred. Well done, mate.
Unfortunately,
we love to hear about 180s.
Unfortunately, Fred's luck wasn't able to roll into our betting. We had another week. We've had 2 bagels. We weren't able to come away with anything, and it's a sad one. But like we said, we've had a few small ones now, and we're still building. We're still looking to move upwards. And I'm hoping as we move into Qatar, we can get ourselves involved in a little bit of money. Now I've been I had a little look at Ned's today, and they've got a few World Cup specials that I might be looking to sink my teeth into over the next week or two. And if there is anything that I do like the look of, I may fill you in. And I guess I've dropped a little clue in there. It's the sinking of teeth, and it's something we're going to look at a little bit later on as we look to preview a little bit of the World Cup.
Love it. Bit of a teaser for you out there if you're a World Cup
listen
hunter.
now. You've got to stay tuned for the next hour at least. So put your feet up, get yourself a nice beverage, and enjoy.
Stay tuned for the coverage. Yeah, like you said, a donut. But I think we've said this previously. We're never going to tip against the Gunners, so particularly not on this show. I won't be. And yeah, look, Jesus had the ball in the back of the net in that Wolves game, only for it to be ruled offside. So yeah, we're a game or two away until
I'm not going to
the
complain
money.
too much when I had 2-1 and we get a clean sheet. So
Exactly.
I'll take the clean sheet over. I believe it was $8 I would have been receiving back. So it's a fair trade. It's a bagel I'm happy to take. And it's a bagel that I've consumed. I've eaten it. It was enjoyable, and we're gonna look forward to this week. Hopefully getting the bagels, getting the donuts out of our diet. But I guess it's probably time to have a little bit of a look at the week that was. And I guess we start ourselves off with a slightly sad topic, a slightly sad game to take a look at, and that is the Kiwis in a heartbreaking loss up against the Kangaroos in the World Cup semi-final we had on Saturday morning.
Absolutely, yeah, a heartbreaking loss in this one. I thought we had an awesome first half there. It was looking really good. We were really dominating the play there. And I thought we went into the break with a deservedly a number of pretty good performances there in the first half. Particularly the forwards, some good moves there from Brown, Hughes, Mulatalo. But yeah, a couple of really good tries from both sides. Maybe Rapana could have been doing a little bit better with that Ben Hunt kicking in behind to Adokar try there, but fuck, that one's going to be on highlights reels for a few years to come. What a try.
Oh, 100%. It was definitely a freaky try. I think Rapana will be rewatching that in his nightmares for a wee while longer. It was heartbreaking is the word we used. It was a heartbreaking one, this game here. Now, I had to watch it delayed. I was out on the golf course and I got a text from someone from work who just checking in to see if I was watching, and I had to let them know I'm out. I'm battling on the golf course. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna give it a look. And now I really, really, really wish she'd said don't even bother with the second half, because it was where it got hard. It was where it was sad to see, and it was not the type of footy that we were hoping we were going to be seeing from the Kiwis in this one here.
Yeah, that second half, like you said, bit of a different story. After both sides had scored a couple of good tries each in the first, a bit of a scrappy one in the second, and yeah, probably just ran out of that last bit of fitness in the last 10-15 there to keep denting the line. We spoke about that oomph earlier. Probably didn't have enough oomph towards the end of the game and attack or defence, and yeah, the only points there of the second half pretty soft one to concede, really. Pretty disappointing to, straight from a tap, one off the penalty, chuck it to Cam Murray, and he breaks through, a couple of efforts that looked like it could have been me and you out there, the way they were tackling.
I think my tackle success rate through my rugby union and rugby league short-lived career is probably looking at like the low single digits. I'm thinking 4%, 5% possibly tackle success rate. Now, when I think of my tackles I've made throughout the years, I've only got two that stand out to me, and both were on the TGS front field, both were playing league, which means I probably didn't make too many when I played union. One was against Long Bay, where I don't think I was playing fullbacks for some reason, I would have been playing prop. Was left as the last man up against this big, huge, gangly, probably like the size of Jack Whiten is now, number 6, up against Long Bay, and I just stuck an arm out and he ran through it and he scored under the posts. And the other tackle was, I think I might have been second man in to a tackle with Toby Bye, there's a throwback, and he just came swinging in with his arm and just completely took me out. And I ended up having to go off with a sore jaw, and it actually then makes me think of a third tackle that I attempted to make back in year 11 up against this monster of a bloke for Glenfield College who put me on my ass, and I couldn't even play the next week because I had a bloody sore tailbone. So it did remind me of me and you. It was an easy try, I got to say, that sort of slipped through. And we'd been talking about the ascent that we were hoping the Kiwis were going to make, and I think we started at the right time, but I think we might have maybe got to base camp and slipped off.
Just tailed off in that second half.
I'm thinking maybe that next cliff edge after you've got up to past base camp, and it's that maybe kind of like those bridges you come across in the country where it's one way give way and you've kind of just got to hope for the best, that there's no one coming around the bend or there's no one coming in that's going to do you in, and possibly there's someone was making their fall and the Kiwis got hit and fell on off. But bit of a shame, I think, when you look at it as a whole, with what looked like possibly one of our stronger teams that we'd had on paper going into this World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Not the best performance overall in terms of getting that team to sort of click and play with a bit of cohesion, and the combinations that we thought were looking really, really strong on paper maybe just didn't come off the way we thought. But look, we certainly saved our best sort of effort for the last game there. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough on the day, and there was that, like I said, that moment in the second half, bit of soft defence, and that's it. The Roos get to go to Old Trafford for the grand final. Big shout out to Joey Manu, of course. It's come out that he's won the Golden Boot, International Player of the Year, so I guess that's one good thing for the Kiwis, but and I believe they're not
the only Kiwi named in the team of the tournament, I think. So well done.
Fisher Harris on the bench.
I think you're right there. I guess probably a big shout out's got to go to Husey. I think that sort of impact he brought once he came back there was pretty huge, and Joey Manu, like you said, with Dylan Brown as well. Pretty nice tournament there for him, but
good thing for the Kiwis is the majority of that team will be there next time for us, 2025. Particularly that spine.
It is.
Hughes, Manu, Brown, and Smith, probably, unless there's another young Kiwi superstar on the waiting.
Yeah, I think it is. It's good signs for the Kiwis, and it's it's a good look to the future. Obviously, we know what Aussie are going to be able to bring to the table over the next few years. It looks like they're going to have
got a young spine as well.
Pretty solid team that they're going to be able to build around. But I also think, after this game, it's probably pretty obvious who we're going to be cheering on in the final. A team that, God, they got to. I see. I'm going to steal a line off you here. Now you've got down here. If you thought that Kiwis Kangaroos game was good, it was a close one. Sorry, a good close one. You can't beat this one. Now, we love a bit of golden point. We love field goals. We love close games that are entertaining. We love games that ebb and flow. Now, this game here, obviously, one team had a pretty solid start to this one, and obviously England looked like they sort of were going to get away to a really good one in this one, but not in the end. And Samoa, the team that are going to be able to come up against Aussie in the final, in the big dance. But what a game that semi-final was. Really, really good game, this one.
Oh yeah, how good. Nothing better than a bit of a golden point field goal win. Yeah, this one kind of ebbed and flowed. But I thought on the majority of it, Samoa probably deserved the win, really. I thought the way that I wanted to sum it up was Samoa probably had the better of, the majority of the game. Maybe dominated 60 minutes there. But that 20 minutes that England had, they probably looked like they were the better side. So if England had had a few more minutes on top with the ball, a few less mistakes from them, could have gone completely different. But Samoa managed to hold on, and a couple of errors in golden point there gave Samoa the chance to have a couple of cracks there at the field goal. And Stephen Crichton, the man, he went down as a Penrith legend a couple of years ago with that intercept try in the grand final, and now he'll go down as a Samoan legend, stepping up and slotting one home there.
Oh, well and truly, he'll be on the lips of the name on the lips of most Samoan fans at the moment. So this is the Samoa that we thought were going to show up to this World Cup. I think, we've said it a couple of times. I know that I think you might have been the first to say it to me. Sort of looking at that battle between Samoa and Tonga, and sort of how that spine, having those halves there that had that experience could be the difference. That first game, do we write it off now? That first game up against England, was it the hype maybe got to them? Was it the hype for England helped them, having the home fans there? But I think we can probably write that off as a bit of an outlier of this World Cup now after this game. But yeah, definitely the Samoa that we thought were going to show up, and I think that spine really helped and made a bit of a difference in this one.
Yeah, for sure. I think Luai, Milford, Suali'i there probably made the difference on the day, particularly up against Tonga. I think that's 3 out of 4 games for Luai that he's won man of the match. So, shows what a difference a quality half makes to a side, and a couple of outside backs for Samoa were all really, really good. The wingers, obviously, we know what they do for Penrith week in, week out. I think To'o's actually the leader of the World Cup for metres gained, and then May on the other wing does pretty much the same thing. But Tim Laffey, I think, is a name a few NRL fans might have forgotten about over the last couple of years as he sort of left Canterbury and moved to the Super League, but had an outstanding game in this one, scoring I think a couple of tries, and really did a job on his opposite number there, Ollie Watkins, I believe.
Yeah, managed to get himself.
Watkins.
Managed to get himself 2 tries. You are correct there, and then Callum Watkins. Ollie Watkins.
Ollie Watkins, obviously the footballer.
The Villa striker there.
Does he have the same name? I don't think so.
But managed to get himself 2 tries, and
and they're forwards as well.
Probably a player that people may have forgotten about, but he obviously had an awesome game and managed to get himself into that team of the tournament there too. But yeah, those forwards,
They
really solid in this one.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Obviously led by their influential leader there, Junior Paulo. But yeah, I thought Papali'i was immense. Sua had a really good game. Yeah, number of those Samoan forwards there. Maybe not as big names as the rest of those other lads, but yeah, had really outstanding games. And yeah, like I said, I don't think England brought their best, particularly for long periods, long enough. But was that potentially due to the fact that they hadn't been in a game like this, a tough, scrappy one where they've got to win the arm wrestle first? I think it was close for the first 20 last time these two played, but after that, England obviously blew them away. But yeah, Samoa managed to keep it an arm wrestle for, the whole game this time, and they had that good practice up against Tonga last week, so maybe that was the difference.
Yeah, no second half blowouts for them obviously this time around, which was good to see. And yeah, I think we'd said it a few times in a few different scenarios about teams not really having had the big challenge yet in the World Cup, and possibly that was the case there for England. And like you said, yeah, Samoa the week before had a really good win up against Tonga, and obviously had all the work to do after losing their first game. So they were only able to keep winning from there on, and they've been able to do that, and they've I think got every right to be in the final there this weekend. And I think it's going to be a scorcher of a game, this one. It's Samoa have done really well to get here, so I think Samoan fans will be pretty happy to be where they are. The Samoan flags have been out in full force this week throughout Auckland. I've seen quite a few of them. Obviously, with you being locked away, you wouldn't have had your chance to see that, but they're still in full flight. And I think they'll be getting loud and vocal in the lead up to this final this weekend.
Yeah, grand final week. I'm sure there'll be plenty of Samoan support around Auckland. Yeah, but it's probably, like you'd said earlier, it's what we had expected in that opening game, really. Samoa turned up for this one. But yeah, it was a beauty. It's always good to see the underdog get up in a game, and yeah, it's also just quietly pretty good to see the Poms get knocked out, particularly at home as well. So yeah, we look towards the grand final. How good for Samoa to make it. I mean, I'll definitely be supporting the Usos to pull off a huge upset in this one, and go on and lift the big one on Sunday morning.
100%. Like I said earlier, no surprise as to who we're going to be supporting in this game here. I think we'll both have our blue on for this game. Now, I guess a bit of a David Goliath situation in terms of the countries here. You look at the size of Australia compared to Samoa. But when you look at that squad on paper, it starts to get a little bit more even. Obviously, the players that Australian team have are unreal, but there are some pretty handy players involved in this Samoa squad. Bit of a battle in this game here of the two Penrith halves. Two old mates coming up against each other in Luai and Cleary, so pretty interesting battle to look forward to there. And then two pretty solid forward packs going toe to toe, so it's going to be a really good game, and one that I think I'm hoping it goes tighter than expected.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I saw a post from the Hello Sport boys Sunday morning. Congratulations to the Kangaroos for winning the 2021 Rugby League World Cup Grand Final against the Kiwis this morning. It's probably a bit on the disrespectful side, but I think that's the way the punters will be looking at it, the bookies at least. yeah, it'll be very, very tough, but you never know. If things can go Samoa's way, the Kangaroos maybe turn up a little bit complacent. You never know what could happen on the day. I mean, if Samoa can get an even skewed in their favour share of the ball by sort of limiting their errors and penalties, I'm sure, yeah, they'll have the quality out wide and in the halves to cause Aussie a little bit of trouble, but I'm sure the Kangaroos have 17 or 18, whatever it is, players ready to prove me wrong on that. I don't know about Junior Polo. He was on report for the old tip tackle he did. Did you see that one?
I did see that one. I haven't seen anything yet whether or not he has been cleared to play. Obviously, we spoke about that last week, about him being cleared for that game there. Just having a look now. What does it say here? It says he's learnt his fate. Put on report. I'm not too sure.
Surely they can't ban him for a grand final.
He's been cleared to play, yeah. He's been cleared to play, and it says here that even Burgess has come out and said that he should definitely play in the final. So it's good to see. That had missed me somehow. I hadn't seen there that he'd been cleared, but it is good to see, and it's obviously good for Samoan fans to see that he'll be able to be involved in that game there. Obviously a huge enforcer there for that team, and we all know what he's brought to the pitches of the NRL, so it's going to be awesome to see him running out there in the final. That's good news. Good news for Samoa there. It's, like you said, if they can limit those errors, limit those penalties, and I think try and keep the ball in hand as much as possible. There's no reason why they can't do enough to get over the line, but this is going to be one of those games where they've really got to be in it for that full 80. It's up against Aussie. It's a team that you can't let have those chances. They'll make you pay. So it's tough. It's a tough one, but it's going to be an awesome game nonetheless.
Yeah, look, I mean, we saw with the Kiwis one moment of, soft defence, or you don't take your chances in attack, and that can be the difference up against the Kangaroos there. They've got so many big name players: Latrell, Adokar, Munster, Ben Hunt, and yeah, like you said, the big one on the day will probably be the battle of Nathan up against Jerome. There'll be a lot of media attention on that. They've come through, they've played in all their teams together really through the Penrith systems, and even up into that New South Wales jersey there. But yeah, I mean, I think the brain probably has to be leaning towards the Roos in this one, but yeah, as I said, my heart's with the Usos. Surely the likes of Luai, Milford, Bolo, Papali'i, Crichton, To'o, they've all got big game experience there on their side, and the X factor to match the Kangaroos. It's just whether they can sort of complete their sets, stay in the game, make sure they're disciplined, and not give the Kangaroos any sort of leg ups. Come on Samoa. I mean, how good would it be to see not only they reach their first semi-final, reach their first grand final, but to win the damn thing. And for it to not be another Australian victory in a Rugby League World Cup,
Even
an
better.
extra bonus. So come
Even
on,
better.
Samoa.
I've got to agree. I think, my head is with the Aussies in a big game like this, but my heart is pounding. It's leaping out the chest towards Samoa. Like you said, an upset would be awesome. The wonders that it would do for Pacifica Rugby League. I've already seen all the talk about the possibility of 2 tests, one in Samoa, one in Tonga, a big battle there, which would be awesome to see them be able to play in their home nations, and to have Aussie miss out, like you said, even better. Probably wraps us up in terms of rugby league. We will touch on the final next week, but it may be the end of our previews.
The penultimate, the ultimate preview and the penultimate discussion of rugby league.
We will keep you up to date with the news,
any news and transfers, obviously.
The signings, the big goss in terms of rugby league, but it may be like you said, the penultimate talking of rugby league on TGIF. And I guess it's probably time to have a look at the round ball, have a look at the arse, and we start with a review of a interesting game up against Brighton in the EFL Cup.
Yeah, pretty hectic one really. Didn't end up being broadcast anywhere around the world, this one, so couldn't end up tuning in live, but probably ended up being a good thing for all the Gooners around the world. Because those who went out to the stadium probably didn't end up seeing the best viewing there, losing 3-1 at home.
Yeah, not the best result here in the end, and like you said, pretty buzzy that there was no broadcast available for us to sink our teeth into. But yeah, maybe it was good that we didn't get a chance to watch it. Cool to see Hine getting his debut there in goal. Obviously, a little bit of a weird one. I know that Turner was back from injury, but possibly. Pretty clear to see where Arteta's main focus is for the year, wanting to keep as many of the players who could possibly be involved in that Premier League title charge, keeping them fresh, especially before they head off to the World Cup. A couple of those lads on the fringe getting a run out, which is nice to see, but it's not the trophy that we're after, I guess. It's never nice to have a loss nonetheless, but I think it's one of those games there where obviously EFL Cup first round, you never know what sort of side the other team's going to put up. Obviously Brighton in a bit of a situation as well where they're looking to push on in their Premier League season. So I know that there was a few different players named to their lineup as well, but we weren't able to snatch it in the end. But it's one of those games that I guess the positive is that we have less fixtures to look forward to now, so we can focus on those more important games.
Yeah, exactly. Probably the trophy out of the four that we're involved with that we least want to win, I suppose, if you could say that. So not a huge drama to be knocked out of this one. Pretty good first goal there by Eddie. I thought it was great work from Reece to set him up. Good to see those two back and linking up for goals there in the first team. Hine, the man that you shouted out, had a bit of an unlucky slip there for the pen. Ended up dragging down, I believe it was Welbeck, and but unfortunate from there, things just didn't really go our way. Seemed that we'd created a few decent chances that we ended up caking, and they probably managed to just take their chances when they came. But like I said, it's not a huge drama. It's probably a good thing that we get through and no more injuries before that World Cup, and those lads can go out and have a good run of it out at the World Cup. Matt Turner might have just coming back from injury. I don't want to aggravate anything that's going to cost me a chance to, pull on the US jersey there, but who knows? We move on, I suppose.
Exactly. It was good to see that those lads that were rested and those lads from the first team were able to bounce back as we got into the last Premier League game before we go away on our World Cup break up against Wolves, and we came away with a nice 2-0 win thanks to 2 goals from the captain.
Absolutely, I thought we're very controlled in this game. It's never easy to go away from home and dominate the proceedings, and we definitely went and had the better of this one at the Molineux. Couple of moments that they probably could have scored caused us a few more problems, but they've been struggling, I believe, to to create chances, certainly to score them goals there this campaign, and that probably showed on the day. I thought we were pretty good defensively, but yeah, I thought on the other end of the pitch, again, probably wasn't our best, if I'm going to be picky with it, but yeah, I suppose a couple of good goals in the end. We struggled to create many clear-cut chances, but when they did come, some beautiful work there for the first goal from Jesus and Vieira to set up Odegaard, and then yeah, a good second time effort there from Odegaard to sweep home the rebound for the second. I thought, yeah, it's probably one of those games where we kind of struggled to get out of first or second gear. Maybe the World Cup on the horizon for a lot of those stars was a big factor, or maybe it was the fact that Xhaka went off after 15 minutes. I believe, calm down Switzerland fans. I believe it's just an illness, a stomach bug or something like that.
He's back in full training today, I'm pretty sure, yesterday, so he's good to go.
But yeah, I thought when Vieira came on, he played pretty well in his position there, and kind of suited the way Wolves were playing against us, sort of parking men in behind the ball. We could afford that extra sort of
a little bit more going forward,
attacking sort of 10 midfielder rather than Xhaka, who's more of an 8, although he's been playing as a bloody number 9 at times this year. But yeah, end of the day, 3 points. How good is it to see Brentford extending our lead going into the World Cup to 5 points over Man City?
Oh, exactly.
Come on, the lads.
Exactly. I think it was one of those kind of like expected wins, I guess, coming up against a Wolves team who are struggling and, going through some changes. And I guess probably, 2 or 3 years ago, we may have lost in a game like that, in there. But I thought, like you said, pretty solid defensively. I always enjoy seeing a clean sheet, so I thought, the back five there, the back four and keeper did really well to ensure that. But yeah, it's definitely still a little bit scrappier while we're up in that attacking third. I'd like to see Jesus obviously get back on the score sheet once he comes back from the World Cup. Hopefully he can get a few goals while he's over there in Qatar. Get a few more of those shots on target, try and test that keeper. We could have put that game to bed a little bit earlier. And yeah, like you said, Vieira coming in, it's really nice to see these players who are on the fringe side of things coming in and being able to slot in pretty nicely. I think after the World Cup we've still got quite a few games to be played, and we're going to need to have some of these players being involved in some of these big games, so it's good to see them able to fit in. And yeah, we obviously Brentford, I was sitting there, we were watching the darts, I believe, or we were watching something prior to the darts, and sort of saw that the score was 1-1 there, and then tuned in for a bit, and then we switched to the darts and thought, well, we better check the score, and saw that they'd conceded a last minute winner. So yeah, shout out to Brentford for ensuring that little bit of breathing space for over this World Cup period, which will be really nice to see for these Gooners fans. Yeah, like you said, 5 points clear.
5 points clear. Long may the dream live on of a title.
We can maybe
win.
Now we can start to say we're in the challenge. Maybe I can happily say that, but I guess it's not. If you're looking at the stats, Arsenal have never won the league when they've been top at Christmas, which is something that doesn't go in our favour. But stats have always got to come to an end at some stage, so there's no reason why we can't be the ones to do that. But speaking of the World Cup, it's upon us. It's finally here, and there is going to be plenty of footy to get into over the next month or so.
Yeah, look, it's one of those special times. Comes around every 4 years, We absolutely love a bit of it. We're not talking about the Olympics, of course. We're talking about the FIFA World Cup. Another huge chance for a bit of national glory for maybe, one or two nations that haven't had a chance earlier in some of these World Cups and tournaments that we've been covering on the show, but absolutely, it's going to be a cracking month of football. I don't think there's anything that sort of brings the excitement of football fans or sport fans quite like the World Cup. The viewing numbers obviously dwarfing anything else, but yeah, should we crack on then?
I mean, we look forward Monday for us here in Auckland, for New Zealand, sorry. Monday the 21st of November, we get to crack off with an interesting opening World Cup fixture. We've got Qatar, Ecuador, probably not the juiciest of fixtures to look forward to, but as it's going to be awesome. There's some really big teams that are going to be really pushing on for a World Cup, I think, this year. You're probably looking at three top favourites, I'd say.
Yeah, I was having a look, and I think for me it's probably looking like one of Argentina or Brazil, those South American giants there. Can never rule out this French side with, absolutely littered with talent, and the crowning jewel, Kylian Mbappe there up top, coming in as the defending champions. They'll be up there in the bookies' favourites. I believe Brazil are the bookies' favourites, but yeah, you've also got Argentina coming in off the back of 30 odd wins, and they've scored 3 goals.
I believe I saw they won today against UAE.
And the last 5 or 6 games they've played, they've won by at least 3 goals. So Argentina looking very dangerous. Brazil, the bookies' favourites, led by, of course, Neymar, and France, of course, defending champions. Hard to go past those 3 for one of your tournament favourites, I reckon. Yeah,
I've got to agree. Argentina, the likes of Messi obviously wanting to try and get a World Cup in his last crack. The French team there, obviously reigning champions, and with a really awesome looking squad, and like you said, the main man there and Mbappe hoping to lift the trophy there. And then Brazil, another South American team who are looking really good. They've got a really good solid squad that they're taking there. A couple of our Arsenal lads getting to go over on the plane with them. I'm thinking Brazil, France. I did a little predictor today on, I'm not too sure what the site was on, but a little predictor, and it teed up for a Brazil France final. I'm thinking that's how it's going to end up for me there. But I think they're probably your 3 main teams, and then you've got I don't want to say your outsiders, maybe not your middle of the pack, but your chasers, the teams who are wanting to stir the pot a little bit, maybe the teams who are possibly expected to be up there in that top 3, and the teams that will probably be going in with the confidence that they can make it to that big dance at the end there and try and lift the trophy. England, you're chucking in there?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's never the favourite that goes on and wins the World Cup, or hardly ever is. So yeah, England, Germany, Spain, Netherlands, Portugal, probably even chuck Belgium, Croatia. They'll all be looking to, like you said, they'll have their own internal goals and they'll be looking to threaten, and there might be a smoky or 2 that we don't expect. Perhaps Uruguay, looking through their squad earlier, looks like actually more than I usually associate with that Uruguay team there. Obviously always a decent side, but they're really starting to build an 11 there of top class talent, and a couple other teams. I know there's one you want to touch on, if their main man can come back from injury. Senegal.
Yeah, exactly. You had me lost there for a little bit. I was, I know I've got a slight affinity to the Saudi Arabian team, and I was kind of thinking about Saudi Arabia then, and I was thinking, I don't see
Saudi
them
Arabia
cracking on and threatening. I do quite like some of those Saudi players from a FIFA career mode back in the day with Al Hilal. So I was thinking then, but no, you're right, Senegal now. Obviously, well, the main man there for Senegal is Sadio Mane, who's took a little knock, and I believe Bayern are pretty pissed off actually that he's managed to get on the plane there to the World Cup, but they've taken him, and they'll be hoping that they can sort of crack on in that group stage, and then he can be rested throughout there and come through in the knockout stages. Now they're in that group there with Qatar, Ecuador, and Netherlands, and I think most people would probably be backing them to sort of come through in that second spot. Obviously not just Mane, they've got a pretty solid squad around them. Koulibaly, Mendy, Idrissa Gueye, Ismail Sarr, there's quite a few players there that can sort of do the trick there for Senegal, and I think they probably could be a little bit of an outside chance. But yeah, I think the big thing there would be whether or not Mane can be involved, I guess, whether or not he's going to be fit come the knockout stages if they do choose to rest him, or whether they maybe bring him back too early and it bites them in the butt. Who knows? But I guess to start us off for a World Cup, we'll have a little look, we'll run you through a couple of these fixtures over the next few weeks that we think are going to be looking pretty tasty. Now obviously it is only the group stage, we're not into the meat of it just yet, but it's when you've got national glory on the line, there's always something to play for.
There's a few, like I like that metaphor. We're not quite into the main course, the meat yet, but there's certainly some tasty entrees on the menu that this World Cup is offering up. So yeah, first of all, Spain versus Germany. Who's going to come out on top in their group? Always two of the stronger sides on paper, and as always, this one should be a high quality affair with two teams stacked to the brim with superstar talent going head to head. Looks like a great game.
Yeah, I think that'll be a really awesome matchup there, Spain and Germany.
We saw last time Spain had a bit of a thriller up against Portugal, 3-3 in the group stage.
Yeah, they did too. You're right.
The Ronaldo hat trick there.
But it'll be two teams who play pretty nice styles of football, and teams that are littered with unreal players. So I think that'll be a really, really good game to look out for there. And you've also got one of those teams that you were talking about there before, Uruguay up against Portugal. You've kind of got two big players over the last 10 or 15 years coming up against each other in what will look like to be their last World Cups. Ronaldo up against Luis Suarez. You've also got Cavani there as well in that Uruguay team. Who's going to come out on top in this one? It's a big one there in that group. Excuse me, Portugal up against Uruguay. You've got Ronaldo here with this new young team that he's going to be looking to bring forward, and we say is it his last World Cup? You never know with a man like him. He could play on till he's in his 50s. There'd be no doubt in that. But with all the talk at the moment, who knows where his career ends up? But I think that's going to be another juicy fixture to look forward to.
Certainly is. Yeah, Portugal versus Uruguay. Those two names certainly stand out on paper. Obviously, like you said, last 15 years, Ronaldo and Suarez have been at the top, winning all the trophies there is to be won. Maybe not a World Cup. They'll be hoping to, like you said, in their last chance, snag one. But a couple of teams that might not be amongst the bookies' favourites to win, but should be a high quality affair with a couple of really good sides looking like they have really good generations of talent coming through. So look out for that one. That should be a cracking game. And speaking of a clash of two titans, another, don't want to say none bigger, because Ronaldo's obviously a huge name in the footballing world, but two names that are probably up there on par with Ronaldo. Lewandowski up against Messi, with the Poles due to face Argentina.
Yeah, now obviously that Group C there with my Saudi Arabian friends and Mexico. Now it's an interesting group. It's a group where you're expecting Argentina to come out on top, and it's probably a little bit of a battle there between Poland and Mexico as to who is going to maybe come out in that second position. You've obviously got a Poland team there led by Lewandowski, who will be hoping that his goals can get them over the line there, and you've got a Mexico team there with one of the goalkeepers who's synonymous with the World Cup, Guillermo Ochoa. But I think this game here, Poland versus Argentina. If Lewandowski can get himself on the score sheet early, and if he can maybe trouble that Argentinian defence, I think the Argentinian squad it's definitely a squad that's probably a little bit more attack heavy.
Top heavy,
I think their strengths are definitely going forward. So if he can get in there and cause a bit of trouble and maybe nab a draw, it would be pretty good for Poland there. But definitely an interesting matchup, like you said, a clash of the Titans. And then another game there that we're sort of looking at that looks pretty tasty. Croatia up against Belgium. Now you've got the finalists from the last World Cup up against this Belgium side that have sort of been that Belgium generation, of Belgian players who were tipped for greatness. Now they've obviously, I think the main man that everyone will be looking to in that squad will be De Bruyne. Talk a lot at the moment about him sort of being the best player in the Premier League. I think it'd be hard to sort of go past him. He's sort of got a bit of everything to his game, and he's just sort of grown as a player over the last 3 or 4 years. And this Belgium side do have a lot of talent, and they have been sort of tipped for greatness for a wee while. And possibly this is the year where they can push on and make it that little bit further. Obviously, I think most would be tipping them to finish top of the group there, but Croatia last time around, I don't think there would have been many that would have been tipping them to get to the final. So I think this is a really big matchup to see who sort of comes out on top in their group.
For sure. Belgium led by, like you said, De Bruyne, and then Croatia led by another world-class midfielder in Luka Modric. So a couple of sides that obviously Belgium, a smaller sort of population-wise country compared to the rest of those European giants, but they've certainly got a number of superstars to match the rest of them. So whether they do make the most of it and have a good run, and we do see their potential fulfilled. You got Lukaku up top for them. He's a different beast in that Belgian jersey. So they'll both be looking for a good tournament, and if Croatia can get anywhere near the final like they did last time, I'm sure they'll be very happy. Probably wraps us up for the sort of juicy group stage fixtures there.
I think
we'll jumped out to me, but I'm sure there'll be some that, as they unfold, there'll be crucial sort of match deciding or group position deciding matches.
Exactly. We'll keep you updated over any matches that do pop out throughout that have been juicy. I think I've just had another little quick look there, and I think one that may not jump out to too many as being a big game, but it may end up being, if things don't go their way, and that's Wales versus England. Now that's the last group stage game for their group.
Big derby.
And if things don't go well for England, now I quite like myself a footy manager video. I quite like myself a footy manager simulation video, and I've been watching a few where they simulate the World Cup, and I've got to say, the amount of times I've seen England come up against Iran in that first matchup and either lose or draw, and that be the cause of them not making it through to the group to the knockout stages is quite high. So if something of a shock does occur, that Wales versus England game could be a really big one. But I think the question that a lot of people will be asking as we go into this World Cup is, are Ronaldo or Messi going to be able to make the most of this last crack at a World Cup? I think we'd love to see them come up against each other at some stage. It would be an awesome sight to see, and they'll be really hoping that one of them can come out on top in the final.
Well, how good would it be? Yeah, be awesome to sort of solidify one or other as the argument as the GOAT. I think people definitely have their opinion one way or another, but yeah, I'm sure a World Cup winners medal would certainly help persuade any naysayers of those two there. So
Exactly.
yeah, it'd be good to see, and yeah, as we move towards a generation probably led by Mbappe and the likes of Haaland at Man City, and if he can get that Norway team firing, perhaps Norway could be a threat, but yeah, possibly not as big of a nation as the likes of France, Portugal and Argentina there. So yeah, it'd be good to see.
Now, I gave you a little glimpse earlier on. I gave you a little teaser, and when we were getting ready to record, I was sort of looking through, and I realised that we were 0-3 last week in terms of the betting, and we were going to go through. We had nothing in there. We had nothing to give you to try and get you some money back, and I had to have a little look. And I was talking about those World Cup specials. Now, I wanted to see. I quite like myself a buzzy bet, seeing if there's something that's worth getting on, and I had a look. Now, in Group H, we have Uruguay, Ghana, South Korea, and Portugal. Now, for those of you that are old enough, and I'd say that is 99.9% of our listeners, to remember the 2010 World Cup, there was an infamous game between Uruguay and Ghana where Luis Suarez got his hands on the ball, stopped the goal from being scored, and Asamoah Gyan, I believe, missed the resulting penalty.
Hit the crossbar,
yes. Now, this meant that Uruguay made it through to the semi-finals, and Ghana missed out. Now, it was looking like Ghana were going to be making the semi-finals in their home continent. Obviously, the World Cup there being played in South Africa. And it was a huge drama. Now, it's a big matchup. It's time for redemption, I think, for Ghana. Shout out to Fred. I know he's a big Ghanaian fan.
Thomas Partey.
Yeah, shout out to Thomas Partey. Shout out to Eddie Nketiah, who I know flew into Ghana today. I know that's where his, I think some of his roots are in Ghana. And I know that obviously over the break, the Premier League players who aren't involved in the World Cup get a bit of time off, and I saw that he was heading down there. But yeah, so it is. It's time for redemption, and I think the way that it's fair, and I think it's destined to happen again. Luis Suarez, he'll be up top surely in this game, and he's got to get sent off. Surely in a game like this, he'll be the one, and it's going to be fiery. I'm scrolling through, and I came across Luis Suarez, $13 to get a red card in any match at any time in the World Cup, and surely with that game there, it's destined to happen. So if you're looking for something to try and wrangle a little bit of money back for over the World Cup, we'll obviously keep you updated on anything else, but I think this could be one to get on. $13 for a red card from one of arguably the dirtiest players to have ever played the beautiful game.
Yeah, well, sink your teeth into that one, punters. I guess that means you got a shot in a number of games there, with Uruguay probably destined to make it through to the next round. But if you're really confident, have a look at Suarez to get a red up against Ghana, because you might be finding a bit more value on that one there. But $13 across any of those matches, it's bound to happen. So yeah, pretty much $13 guaranteed. Well done, good find.
Thank you. Now, I guess that's probably us. Like I said, we'll keep you updated throughout over anything else that we think seems newsworthy. But I guess onto more sad news, I guess, for us Kiwis here. The Cricket World Cup has finished, and it didn't really finish on the note that we were expecting it to finish on, or hoping that it would finish on. and we came up short. We came up with a loss in the semi-finals up against the Pakistan team, who were coming in with a little bit of confidence, I think, after the way that their tournament had gone.
Yeah, Pakistan obviously coming in with all the momentum there, with the dramatic way that the Netherlands granted them a chance through to the semis there, and the Black Caps saving their worst performance of the tournament there for the semi, which was pretty disappointing really. Well, apart from arguably the game up against England as well, but it just never really clicked into gear for the Black Caps there batting first. Apart from Daryl Mitchell, obviously shout out to the big man Daz, consecutive 2020 World Cup semi-final 50s. What a man, what a character, what a legend of New Zealand cricket of the last few years, I would say. Kane, Conway, Glenn Phillips, they kind of struggled to score a good clip alongside him, and our troubles starting really from the third ball there, with Finn Allen being given LBW, and then didn't really get any better for us with the ball there. Rizwan and Baba, I know last week you said maybe if we keep them in for a few overs, the pressure will mount and you know, things will go good for us.
I know, apologies. I only went and bloody jinxed us. I said that if we could keep those two openers in, they hadn't really been scoring at a very good rate. I thought we might have been in with a crack, and they've only gone and put in a really good showing there with the bat, and sort of didn't give us much chance at all really there. Now, I guess I did also say that I sort of had a bit of a soft spot for that Pakistani team there going into that game. So it was. It's not to say that it was a loss I was happy with, but a little bit bittersweet. I'd liked the way that the Pakistanis had been playing throughout the World Cup. And I guess, you know, when you look at the World Cup for the Kiwis on a whole, you know, it's possibly not the way we expected it to end, but there was a couple of good signs throughout, and it does mean that we now have the next 4 or 5 months to make up for it, with plenty of cricket to be had over our summer. But yeah, not really the way we were hoping this semi-final was going to pan out for us Black Caps fans.
Yeah, not much hope after that sort of opening 10, 11, 12, was it, overs that Rizwan and Baba were batting for. Managed to rack up a 100-run opening partnership there. Could have been very different had old mate Dev behind the stumps held on to that catch, with Baba being dropped first ball there. Maybe another couple of chances along the way that we had to keep it interesting. I believe at one stage they needed like 23 or 14 or 20 or 14 or something like that. And I was thinking, oh yeah, you know, a couple more dot balls and the pressure could be on. They don't have a set batsman, but I think after that, couple balls later, it was back to 10 off 12 with a 6 and a 4. So yeah, I mean, yeah, tournament as a whole, probably not the way we expected to bow out, but we've been punching above our weight for a good while on the cricketing world stage, particularly at these tournaments. So yeah, to make this many semis in a row, it's pretty good effort for a small nation that, yeah, probably isn't our main focus. But yeah, like you said, over the summer, I'm sure there'll be plenty of focus on the lads as we look to tuck into a good summer of home cricket.
Oh, exactly. Plenty of cricket to be had over the next few months, like we said, and I guess, yeah, there's plenty of chances now for us to try and get a bit of revenge and try and make up for what was lost. But it wasn't the end of the World Cup. We had another semi-final to look forward to, and that was England up against India. And England far too strong for India in this one.
Yeah, I thought, to be fair, it was a little bit similar to the Black Caps versus Pakistan semi-final. Obviously India going out and batting first and sort of struggling to get going early. And then the number 5 batsman comes in, Hardik Pandya, I believe, and helped them sort of smash their way to a decent total of 168 in the end. But yeah, like you said, England absolutely smoking in the end. Just cruising there. A couple of awesome knocks from their openers, Joss Buttler and Alex Hales, both 80 odd not out each. Pretty hectic. I mean, maybe India just didn't take enough risks early on and start to go for that boundary early on, but maybe the Poms just were bowling and fielding out of their skins, and then Butler and Hales making it look easy in the end.
Yeah, now obviously, what a knock there in that opening partnership, like you touched on there, and to be able to go out there and what was the final score there that they ended up on? Bloody
170 for none.
170 for none. To be able to go out there and last the whole, they only ended up having to
16
bat the
16
overs. I've just brought it up there, 16 overs. So to be able to stay out there for that long and come out with a knock like that, they're well deserved to make the final there. But yeah, like you said, I don't think India sort of maybe took enough risks. Like you said, they didn't maybe bring their game that maybe they expected. I know that there'd been a couple of games there. There were one game in particular there where Kohli had to sort of come out and save them from the jaws of defeat. And it wasn't to be in this one. But I think England probably pretty deserved winners here. They definitely were probably the team that was meant to be in that final up against Pakistan.
Yeah, I think England have certainly been one of, if not the best, certainly in that short form of the game over the last few years, so definitely deserve it of them to put in a performance like that and reach the final. Obviously unlucky it couldn't be the Black Caps, and as soon as the Black Caps were written off, I was sort of hoping to tee up that India versus Pakistan final, which would have been
awesome,
super rowdy, next level. But we enjoyed that final nonetheless. Did you get to tune in and watch it?
The final?
Yeah.
I saw bits of it. I saw a little bit of it, but I didn't get to see the whole thing. Now, obviously, like you said, it would have been a couple of pretty tasty matchups there, India versus Pakistan, or having New Zealand involved. Now, obviously, sort of came away there, sort of right there, not at the death as such, but was it five balls to go, I believe it was, and
yeah, I think England probably brought it a bit closer than they needed to, but yeah.
Ben Stokes, the man to sort of pick up those winning runs there.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Stokes, what a knock. Struggled a little bit, maybe put a little bit of pressure throughout the middle of their innings there, but Ben Stokes, he's the man for those run chases for England. He brought them level with us in the 50 over version, and he's obviously had a couple of famous ones in test matches as well in the Ashes. But yeah, Ben Stokes, well supported, I believe, by Moeen Ali as well. Good little knock as well, 20 or 30 there when they when they really needed it. And
it looked
they've
like
gone and made themselves double white ball cricket champions. Obviously, a bit dodgy how they won that 50 over version. Few New Zealanders still a bit bitter with that, but a good convincing win for them in the end in this one.
Oh yeah, exactly. Now, with the timing, it was a bit harder to sort of stay up and see that whole England innings. But that Pakistani innings, it was a little bit sad at a few stages. I was really hoping that they were going to be able to come away with the win, but a couple of stages there where a few easy wickets went and sort of looked like that they never really got away with this game. Sorry. And the man you said there, Ben Stokes, loves a big run chase, likes to be involved in a little bit of the drama and involved in the headlines, and he was the man to sort of come away with the winning runs. But I think Pakistan can be pretty happy with how their tournament ended up, but obviously no happier than England to like you said, be the double white ball champions there.
Yeah, a bit disappointing for Pakistan that such a good batting performance in the semi to sort of just limp their way short of 140 was a little bit gutting. But they had their chances. Like I said, Stokes and Ali were sort of cruising a little bit, maybe taking it a little bit too easy, and Pakistan were back in with a sniff, but once the Shaheen Shah Afridi, he went off injured a second time, they just teed off and brought it home. So well done England. Thought it was a pretty good tournament overall. I definitely enjoyed watching it, and not just the Black Caps games. So bring on the 50 over World Cup next year.
Exactly. Now, I mean, for them, those English fans, they'll be a little bit gutted that they couldn't do it in the league, so they would have been able to make it all three, and maybe then have a shout there with the fourth, with the soccer coming up. But I guess that's probably us there for the Cricket World Cup. Now we'll let you know about any Black Caps games that we've got. Obviously, we look forward to I believe India tomorrow. I think is the first 2020 match that we play.
Yeah.
Another on Sunday.
Weather permitting, obviously. Looking like it's a bit rough throughout New Zealand over the weekend, but fingers crossed for some good weather wherever the cricket goes, and at least if it is raining, we can sit there and watch a bit of the cricket. But I suppose that wraps us up for the white ball for now. Shall we move on to a little bit of NBA?
Yeah, we'll have a quick touch on the NBA now. It's been slightly better showings here for both of our teams. My Wizards sitting there at 8-7, lost by 1 today in a bit of a heartbreaking game there against an OKC team who are in hot form. They've had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, apologies for any mispronunciations there, in some really good form. He's averaging, I think, like 32 or 33 points a game this season so far, and he dropped 42 points today against us, and the game-winning 3. But it's better signs. I believe we were in 5th the last time I checked the table there, so it's nice to see, and the only way is up. So hopefully a few more wins, and we can sort of stay involved in that push for some finals ball.
Yeah. Look, my Knicks as well. We're 8-7 after today. We picked up a good win up against the Nuggets. Just holding on at home there, I believe. I don't know. Yeah, not maybe after today's loss, you've slipped down from 5th down into 7th, same as equal with us.
7th and 8th, yep, you're right.
7th and 8th, and we're sitting there half a game above the 76ers, so look, I'm pretty happy to be hanging around that playoff spot for now. Hopefully we can put a good run of wins together and maybe make a little climb up to keep the fans a little bit less anxious.
Yeah, we've both got
a little bit less pressure on the players as the season goes on. But
we've both got games coming up on Saturday. Wizards up against the Heat, who are sitting there in 10th in the East, and your Knicks up against Golden State, who are sort of wallowing there in 12th at the moment. So possibly a chance there for both teams to pick up a win and push on, hopefully. I guess that's probably us there on the B-ball. There's not too much to touch on in terms of those two teams of ours. Now, I guess we'll have a little look at the darts now. How good has this Grand Slam been? There's been some huge groups. There's been some very big matchups and some really big names not making the cut for these knockout stages. Now, in particular, Chizzy and Peter Wright both failing to make it out of their groups. Now, again, it's always rough with these timings, so it's been hard to watch a few of these. But I've tried to keep up to date with my highlights, and there were some really awesome performances throughout. Big shout out to Gerwin Price. He's managed to average 100 plus so far in his 4 games, so he's top in the charts there, and he's definitely the one to watch out for. Now, we had him take out Danny Noppert this morning in the first knockout rounds, and I believe he's now up against Barney in the next round there, so that's going to be a great match to look out for. I think he's probably my pick at the moment for picking up the title at the end of this weekend. But we've also got the World Champs coming up soon in about a month or so we'll have our very own Ben Robb from New Zealand getting over there to take part in that. So it's something to look forward to. But I'm just thinking it's probably me for this week. There's probably not too much other rubbish I've got to fill you up with. It's been another good one. It's good to be back after a little bit of more of an extended break, a couple of days away. It's good to have you back up on your 2 feet, and it's good to be sitting here talking a bit of shit again.
Yeah, obviously we changed the schedule. First few epis came out on a Friday, recorded on a Thursday, and then we decided to see if we can try and bring it to you a bit earlier on the Wednesday night, by recording on the Tuesday. But obviously I was out of action, so here we are on a Thursday. Yeah, it's probably me, out of shit to talk as well, so I look forward to assimilating myself back into society, as they say. Hopefully the weather plays along. Supposed to be off to 660 this weekend, and hoping to get out on the golf course, but if not, I'm sure I'll go along and try and stay dry at the concert. But yeah, if you've made it this far, like we always say, thank you very much for listening. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, give us a like, a 5-star, and subscribe to the podcast. Give us a follow on your social medias. Enjoy the grand final of the Rugby League and any other sports you may indulge in over the week ahead. Obviously the FIFA World Cup starting up there, so yeah, enjoy. And as we always say, if you're having a punt, do it responsibly, and remember to tune in same time, well, not same time, but next week. See you then.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. Have a lovely week, and we will see you next week.